All right. Hi, May.
Hi, everyone.
Glad to have you all back. So I believe this will be our last painting session for
This painting.
This painting, yes, thank you. Good to see you all here. I can see you all in the chat now. And so real quick, so May is, I believe you're still mixing some of your colors. While you're doing that, we are Evolve Artists. We do these live streams really just for the benefit of anyone who's interested. We are a online art school helping artists reach pro-level skills in 1 year. If you're interested in that, check out the links in the description and you can learn more about us. But here we are, going to spend the next 3 hours having a lovely time together. And of course, we love your participation, everyone here. And so, yeah, May, why don't you explain a little bit what you're doing, what your plan is, and then we can keep things going here.
So I just really want to finish the painting today. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but on my palette I mixed these two first because I thought it'd be interesting to like throw in some like really cool like temperature-wise like highlights since like everything else is like very, very warm in this painting. I might maybe just like experiment with that. It'll definitely just be, they won't be opaque, so I'll probably I'll thin them down and then like put them in certain places. Then if I don't like how it looks, then I'll wipe them out. And it'll be pretty intuitive, I think. Right now I'm mixing this like sort of purple color, which I'm trying to match to be like about a value higher than that lightest light in the background. Because like in the reference photo, there's a lot of like smoke and stuff in the background. And right now it doesn't really read as really anything. It doesn't really need to. I just thought it'd be more interesting so the wing isn't like the only thing that's jumping out and it feels like to the point where it feels like detached from like the rest of the atmosphere and stuff. So yeah, just the last time I mixed like colors for the background was like, I don't know, like almost 2 months ago. So I'm really just kind of winging it as I go.
Did I hear you say winging it?
I knew you were gonna pick up on that and I didn't want to say it again. But yes.
Yeah, we've made that joke a few times. Hi, Ted.
Oh, hi.
Nice to see you. We got Ted is from Germany. It's always cool to see the different locations people are from.
This is the first time they're watching me like actually mix colors instead of just like with my brush.
So I see, I've been referring to Eddie as Eddie, but
Okay.
I was recently corrected that Eddie might actually be pronounced Edie. So Eddie, Edie, if you would like to clarify that for me and confirm, that would be wonderful. If I can, it'd be nice to make sure I get everyone's names right who's in here. Joshua Young, can you talk? He's asking, can you talk over the phone in the Evolve program with the instructors? You can. We actually usually do video chat for our one-on-one meetings. That way you can actually, because a lot of us artists are visual learners, so being able to use visual things helps to explain. But a phone, I imagine, would work just as easily. But yeah, so we have one-on-one meetings in the Evolve program with instructors that you can have, and that just all comes with the course. And then there's also the feedback on your paintings that is done through like text format. It's a little bit more official and thought out. But you can also book one-on-one meetings with instructors to get a more full explanation of something that's specific to you. Okay, thank you, Edie. I appreciate that. So, okay, so Edie is short for Edith. So there you go. Mystery solved.
Winning.
Hey, Darkstar. Hey, Laurel.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, Sarah Price. Glenn. Good to see you all here.
I like that these names are all like familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like comfy.
Yeah, it's cool. It's been a good ride. I think this is going to be, is this our 19th hour on the painting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. It's been a fun ride, everybody.
Or at least it has been for us.
And we are planning on continuing our live streaming, though the painting will, of course, will be finished. Question here. Is the palette gray or is it in shadow?
It's gray.
Yeah, so the palette is gray toned, and that's just, it's the same gray tone that you would get in the Evolve program. The gray really helps you to see not only the color relationships, but also the value relationships a little bit more easy. I think it's actually really handy because sometimes a lot of my paint will tend to lean dark, but then when I compare it to the gray palette, I realize, wow, I could go, so much brighter and let my painting get brighter. So, but yeah, having the neutral gray tone really helps you to see, especially because a lot of areas in paintings can be on the gray side, and so it'll just help you see those subtle shifts more easily. Whereas if you imagine if it's a white backed palette, then the contrast between the white and whatever you're mixing, it makes it harder to see that color more specifically, more critically. I hope that makes sense. Sarah Price said, "This has been wonderful. I'll miss this." Well, hopefully you won't miss it too bad, because May and I are starting to think a little bit about what we could do next. So the next live stream that we want to do, which I imagine would be next week. Yeah, next week. And we want to do some kind of like a one-off painting session. So, this one has been like a 7-part series, but the next one we want to do like a painting from start to finish. So it'll probably be something a little bit looser, more like a study. And we're toying around with the idea of, since we talked about it at some point in during this series about like a mental health painting or art therapy painting, something like that. Actually, May, if you want to show again the painting that you did.
Sure.
Of that master copy. So May had done this awesome master copy.
Thank you.
And she did it in just one sitting, just to really kind of loosen up. And I don't know, you can step back just a little bit so we can get that in focus, and then tilt it down just slightly right there. A little bit higher. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, so you can see it's it's just a really nice painting. It has just so much expression attached to it. And it's a really small piece, and she did it in one sitting, right? So we're kind of thinking, it'd be kind of cool to do that. And just kind of see the whole thing get unfold in the one shot. And when May did this, she did it with why am I talking? Why did you do this painting, May?
I did this painting because I was like, I want to paint, but I don't want to like be stressed out about it. I want to, like the whole summer, like I've been like very like meticulous in like everything I'm doing, because it's like with the intent of like, being like portfolio ready and stuff. And like I was so tired of like sitting in front of an easel and just like automatically becoming like tense and like very like self-critical and like constantly like doubting like my own like competence, I guess. And I was like, I want to like reaffirm that like this is something I can do without like being in such like a mental vise about. And so yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna choose this image that I think is really cool, and then just blow through it and see how it comes out. And it came out pretty well, and I'm very like pleased. And it was like a very fun process because it just felt like really intuitive, and there wasn't like any like pressure on me or anything, or anything that I was like really putting on myself. So yeah, it was just very nice break.
Yeah, so we're gonna see if we can sort of capture that same intention where, despite being seen by the entire world on public live stream, just sort of having like kind of creating that same sort of space where May can just create and make a painting and have fun with it. She can, make whatever decisions that she wants without really feeling the pressures of making a beautiful painting, but really just enjoying the painting process. And
right.
If a great painting comes out of it, wonderful. And if not, we still had a great time, right? And so there's something to be said about that, especially with the level of excellence that we often go after as artists, and to be able to kind of just loosen up like that and remember what painting is really all about is I think is really important and powerful. So yeah, I think that'd be really cool. So we'll kind of figure out, we don't know exactly what subject matter to do yet. It might be another master copy. It might be, yeah, we got some ideas, but something that May is really going to enjoy and might kind of show a bit of more of her personal tastes. And yeah. Okay, some questions here from Edie. Is that Hades kidnapping Persephone? No. So that painting is
It's like
it's by Bouguereau. And
it's a Solomon J. Solomon.
You're right. I keep getting that wrong. You're
No, we have
absolutely
like
right.
a lot of like both in the curriculum. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Which is funny because I actually,
it's
like, when people ask me who my favorite artist is, I go to Solomon J. Solomon. So it's so funny that I keep forgetting that.
fake fan.
But yeah, so that is, anyways, that's St. George slaying the dragon. I don't know the exact name of it is, but
That is what is happening.
yeah.
It's like cropped though. I think the whole thing
Yeah.
is like portrait.
Yes.
And like
The dragon is at the very bottom.
Yeah,
His spear
yeah.
is going all the way through. Yeah. And then a question from Richard Dearden. How long have you been painting, May?
been painting since like seriously with like I guess overall I've been painting at the Art Academy since I was like 13. So I'm 19 now. So like 6 years. But I mean, at home before then, I like messed around with like watercolor and stuff. But I don't think that counts at all. But yeah, I'd say just overall painting time 6 years, but like actually being serious, maybe like a year and a half. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just gonna start using these and see where they take me.
All right.
Wait, no, I want to mix another one. Sorry. I feel like I do that a lot. I'm like, I'm gonna do this now, and then I just don't. Like with finishing a live stream, I'm like, okay, I think I'm done, and I just keep working right after saying that. But I don't think anyone's complaining, so. There's like this really subtle, like red, like reflection, like in this arm, over here, like all the way in the shadows, and I wanna drop it in. Just like as an extra like hit of color. Maybe not even like value, but just straight up color.
Hey, Sarah. Glad to have you. So we got two Sarahs in the group in our group right now. Sarah Price and Sarah's Creative Yearbook.
Yes. Both familiar names.
And Sarah Price said, Bouguereau is my art crush right now. Yeah, incredible work.
Bouguereau's gradients are just like insane. It's like it doesn't even look like a painting. They're just like birthed transitions from like one color into another. I don't understand.
Birth transitions. You wanna
It's
expound
like
on that?
you can't see like it's like the point of a gradient, you know, you can't see where the edges like start or end. But it's just like done so well. It's like overwhelming. And if you stand too close, like the museum people will like get mad at you. So
Yeah, Darkstar said, it's the softness for me. I'm a sucker for soft edges. So will you be painting opaquely or will you be glazing?
both. I'm like mixing. So my palette has both like glazes and opaques on it, and I'm kind of just mixing them together, like based on, you know, like creating a color, not really based on like only mixing glazes with glazes or opaques with opaques. But yeah, like they'll all probably be like thinned down to a certain extent. So I guess it's called like frottage or something when you like thin down opaques. just gonna see how this does. Also with like, by thinning it down, that means I can like wipe it off or like change it like a lot more easily. And the edges can be like a lot cleaner. So it's just like, it's safer, basically. I think that works. That is good. Okay. It's like very subtle. I don't even know if it comes up on camera.
I think it is coming up on camera.
But like that's the point, so.
I don't know if we're seeing it in the way that you're seeing it. I think we might be. Yeah. Edie just shared that Bouguereau painted every single day and completed 700 paintings in his lifetime. Wow. Sarah Price said, I love the touches of blue in the wing.
There's gonna be more. Or not.
Yeah.
If it doesn't look good, then, you know, there won't be. I really want to see.
You said you want to what?
I really want to see, like, if the blue works or not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm gonna, like, thin them both down, like, a lot, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see people's reactions when the blue goes down. I'll make the stab at guessing that some people will like it and other people will not.
Yeah, because right now it looks like very like harmonious and like overall like very warm, red, orange, purple.
Right.
Once the blue goes in, they're gonna like sit on top of everything. I think if I do it well, it'll look like accents, like complementary accents, rather than like departures from like what's lying underneath. So maybe people will start off like disliking it, and then I'll make it better, and then people will like it again. So we'll see. Yeah, but I will thin it down a lot, so there's like not a lot of room for like permanent damage, for lack of a better word.
And Sarah Price said about Bouguereau, yeah, he worked 16 hours a day. A lot of that was in response to grief, losing his wife and several of his children. So sad.
Oh,
Wow.
I didn't know that.
It's interesting looking at what you're doing through the different camera angles. To me, while we're kind of, right now the camera shot is looking at you and the painting on the side.
Right.
And that red color is really jumping out. But then when I switch over, that red isn't jumping out quite as much from the angle of the camera. So it's interesting to see. I'm not sure how much of that is the oil interacting with the painting, if it's just the different angles of looking at it. Might be a combination.
I think also like all the lights are on at the rest of the school, so it's just making everything a little bit different.
Thank you for reminding me. We'll go see if that will help.
mixing like a cooler tone that like matches like the cooler tone I have in the skin like by value, but is like a little bit more blue. So, because I don't want only the wing to have cool tones and then the body's like warm completely, basic, like relatively, because you know then they wouldn't look like one entity or one form.
Mm.
So I figure if I'm gonna try it on the wing, I might as well try it on the person too.
Sarah's creative yearbook said, random question for May. How is the portrait in the background doing? Can we see it? Will you post it on your Instagram when it's done?
It's doing well. It's been finished for a while now. I just need to photograph it. I asked Kevin to like 3 weeks ago, and he was like, "I'm very busy right now," and I was like, "Okay." So I gave him 3 weeks, and then I like asked like 3 days ago, and then he's like, "I'll do it tomorrow," and I asked him like 2 days ago, and he said he'd do it tomorrow, and then so I'm probably gonna just photograph it after this stream, cause like I'm not really at the school that often. I like paint in the studio instead, like the photo studio. For like a bunch of reasons. But so I just figured like, you know, if I could like save a trip, and since he's like up here all the time during like the summer programs, it might be like just like more convenient. But,
Mm-hmm. So
but it's
know how to
fine. Like
photograph your own paintings, right?
Hmm?
You know how to photograph your own paintings, right?
I've like watched Kevin do a bunch of times, but you know he does a thing where like I try to do it and he's like, "I'll take care of it," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, he's very generous like that.
Yeah. So he got like this new thing called like a polarizer, which I think it's an appendage to the camera, and like it changes the angle that like light enters the camera from, so it can eliminate a lot of like really nasty like specks and like dust and stuff from like the final image. So we're probably gonna play around with that soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because for some reason lately my paintings have been getting like a lot of dust stuck in them. Like this painting especially, it's like I can like feel it, and it like really bothers me.
Do you think it has something to do with the amount of times you've sealed it?
I don't think so. I mean, like Kevin sealed his painting like after every single like live stream, right? And that was like 17 times or something. And like his is fine, so I don't know what the deal is. Do you have paper towels? Oh, I think I brought them over. Can I go grab them real quick?
Yeah, of course. That's cool, Edie. Edie's sharing polarizing filters remove glare and so can make the colors look more saturated. Interesting. I myself am not particularly familiar with all of that, so it'll be cool to see how that turns out. Darkstar said, I've seen people take lint rollers to their paintings. Thoughts on that?
I mean, if it's like already dried into the paint, I don't feel like that wouldn't do anything. And like while it's wet, that just sounds like a recipe for disaster. So, I don't know.
I don't know enough about lint rollers, but my first concern would be leaving a residue behind if the lint roller is too sticky.
Or even like picking paint up, right?
Yeah, what Kevin recommends is going to like the local hardware store and getting Tack cloth. It's like it is sticky itself, but it does a really good job of picking up dust and then also leaving the dust that's supposed to stay, right? Because sometimes the dust will simply get embedded in the painting, and that should not be taken up. But you can be very gentle with it, and you don't have to like push into, like with a lint roller, you might have to push in. But with the Tack cloth, you can kind of gently wipe and just brush the surface off really, really nicely. So that's probably a safer way to go than a lint roller. But I cannot confirm that. I don't have enough experience to say that's a terrible idea to use lint roller.
Yeah, not
But
our
I
area of
wouldn't risk it.
expertise.
How do we spell that? I'll type it in the chat. Tack. I'm not sure if it's one word or 2 words, so I'm going to make it 2 words. Joshua just asked, you're selling your painting on Microsoft Print? Joshua, do you want to give us a little bit more context? Are you talking about May selling a painting? Or are you talking about May selling a print? Because there's 2 slightly different things. But I don't think we're using
Microsoft.
Microsoft
No.
to do that. So
I do
just give
have
us a little more
webs-
context and
yeah.
maybe we can answer your question there.
Yeah. Oh. Wow. That is so light.
Joshua said, oops, I thought you could sell it on Microsoft.
I mean, I am selling like prints and maybe originals, but not on Microsoft. I mean, you could throw my website in the chat, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's being done through there. I'm not using Microsoft or anything.
Dropping the May's website in the chat.
Thank you.
Bill is asking regarding prints, what do you print on as far as paper goes and the printer goes?
It's like archival matte paper. It's like produced by Canon. I'm not sure like the exact, like barcode numbers on it, but I know it's like very high quality. We ran a couple of test prints the other day, and they were like, it feels like velvet when you touch it. It's like super nice. The printer, again, I'm not sure like the exact specs, but it's like 16 inks, I think, and like most printers only like 6 or 8. So you're getting like pretty much every color you could possibly think of. So yeah, very high quality. Hello.
So it's a cartridge printer versus a eco tank?
I don't know what an ego tank is, but I know we have cartridges, yes. So yeah, cartridge.
Yeah, the printer is a Canon 4100. Yes, I apologize, Dark Star. My mic was not on, but I had followed up with that question from Bill. So it's a cartridge printer and it's a Canon 4100. John Rogers just chimed in. Another May Zheng joint. I don't know if that's a friend of yours or what, but
What was the name?
John Rogers?
No.
No? Okay. Well, welcome, John. Glad to have you.
Hi. If I do know you and I just forgot, I'm sorry. But, but yeah, that does not sound familiar. Testing out the blue.
Here we go.
That's pretty enjoyable, actually.
It is. It's actually quite subtle on the camera.
This looks like gray. This is like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a it's like a very slightly cool gray. This is fun. Wait. I have to be really careful though. I can't like overdo it. And this looks so dark here, but it's actually like very light on there. Like they can see that, right? So I think I have to darken it a little bit so it can be applicable to like more parts of the painting. You know, like when you first like go into a pool and it's like really cold and then you have to get used to it. That's like how my eyes feel right now with this color. Ooh, wow, okay, that's a mistake. It's okay though. The reference is like so scratched up from just like being thrown around for like 2 months straight. It's like hard to make out what it is.
I'm glad to have you also, watercolor newbies. It's so cool how just a little bit of blue brings out other colors, you know?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it's really a gray, right? But it
Yeah.
appears to be blue compared to the other things. It's one of my favorite parts of figure painting is because I tend to sort of wait to put the blues in. You drop them in and suddenly the painting begins to change. It's pretty cool.
I take that as high words of praise since you're like actually experienced in figure painting.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's like really satisfying.
It looks good. It looks good.
Thank you. Imagine if it looked awful.
No one is saying anything in the chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's just us.
You just see the views like dropping. You know what? It's okay. It's my painting. So.
There you go.
Like, I worked out of the blue for now, and I'm just neutralizing this like really dark shadow in here in the back. Like its value itself isn't like that big of a problem, but the main thing is that it's like the edges are not very soft, so it kind of jumps away. It's its own shape, and it's like not correct. So I'm just going over it with like this thinned down opaque, as you can see. So by like bringing the value closer to what's around it, that kind of takes care of the edge problem as well.
Well, it's also interesting because you're, like you said, you're neutralizing the color of it as well. So even though the you're making the value slightly lighter, the color shift, the temperature shift, is like helping it not stray too far in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin and I will talk about that a lot, where you can, it's like, so we talk about how there's values, edges, and color, right? And I'm sure everyone who's in the Evolve program has heard this so many times, but those are the three things that you're painting with, and no matter how good you get, you're always looking back at those three things and painting through that lens. And the thing is that you can create form and depth using any three of those, or any combination of the three of those. So what May was describing with, like right there, was an example of her kind of making a shift using color instead of value to create a more nuanced dimension in the back.
You make me sound so smart.
I don't know if that makes sense for people who are not familiar with the Evolve language, but it's pretty exciting to see. Joshua Young said, "I like your wing."
Thank you.
Sarah Price said, "Just enjoying watching it." And High Price, so we got Sarah Price and High Price
Oh my
right
gosh.
now, said, "I will draw May. P.S. Her work is phenomenal." With a heart.
Send it to me.
You got a fan.
Thank you. And thank you, yes. That's so funny. Yeah, DM it to me on Instagram or email me or something. I'd love to see it. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, and your Instagram, I can pull up that and drop that in the chat for people who...
Oh, I have to blend all those blues. Okay. I would just leave them like that. That'd be so funny. All right. To make sure my brush is very clean.
Out of curiosity, are you, now that you're working with that slightly grayer color, are you starting to see it in more places than you originally saw it?
Yes. But at the same time, I'm seeing places where I want to put it. And so I have to figure out where it belongs and where I just like want to put it.
How do you know when to stop?
I think I'm like trying to think of it in terms of like, it's like the light is like relatively cool, so the shadows are like all very warm, but then if the lights are cool, that means the reflections are cool. So I'm trying to find like the reflections in the form, like where something is like folding, like overlapping or something.
Well, you kind of just answered your own question, right? If the lights are cool,
Yeah.
then the reflections are cool.
Cool, yeah. So
are the shadow, like shadows without the reflection,
Or
would
warm.
be okay. from here out, like what it looks like to me, and I don't know, maybe we were looking at it differently. You've been painting and I haven't, but the reflections look warm, which are
well, like here they're warm, right?
right.
Like also here.
Right. So that's contributing to the overall warmth of the shadows. But if you just look at like the shadows without the reflections, to me it appears to lean a little bit cool compared to the lights, the main light source.
Like here?
So therefore you would have warm light, cool shadows, warm reflections in the shadows. Right?
I mean, reflections are like also light though, right? So wouldn't they be the same temperature? Or am I
Well, it's all
like,
relative. So
Right.
same to what? Right.
or like the same temperature? Since it's like, if you're using the same light source, it's like only going to be like relatively one temperature, right? But then like all the light that is on that subject from that light source is going to be the same temperature.
Mm-hmm. Is that what this was? Was there no reflections? Was there a second light source in the photo shoot?
There, like this was like the main one, and then there was one like in front, like here, kind of going this way. But it was pretty neutral, if I remember. I don't know. I think I'm like picking out just like cooler, like while I'm thinking that way, I'm also picking out just relatively cooler parts and then just like exaggerating them.
Mm-hmm. Glenn said, y'all
that
getting
makes
deep
sense.
about this. Yeah, we are. We're right now we're just having kind of an open-ended conversation. It's interesting because I'd be really curious to hear Kevin's thoughts on this and how he would break this one down, because you could look at it as a very neutral painting overall, actually.
Yeah, it's like pretty much monochrome. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And so if everything is neutral, it's actually much easier to sort of be a bit more subjective about what temperatures you're seeing.
mm-hmm.
But I agree with you that there's like a interesting variety of cools in some places, and then these hits of warm reflections in other places. Like the areas where the light seems to be dropping away,
Mm-hmm.
seems to be getting cooler. Seems to be cooler
Like
than
in
the
here?
warm reflections. Oh, I can't see where you're pointing.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Like this is cooler than like this. Is that what you mean? Or like here relative to like here?
Well, like the on the back, right? So the cast shadow on the lower back.
Yeah, like here.
Yeah. So you just kind of put in those cooler tones.
Mm-hmm.
And so as the light is kind of dropping off, it's getting cooler.
Like from here to here?
Where?
Like, you mean the light dropping off from like here, like to here, or?
Yeah. Well, so if you
Okay.
compare like the light on the shoulder
Mm-hmm.
versus the light on the lower back,
Yeah, yeah,
the lower back is much cooler.
that's true. Oh, I see what you mean.
But then
Yeah.
the that warm reflections seem to be almost getting warmer down in that area in comparison.
I see what you mean. Maybe it was warmer in the front then, because
It's all so subtle.
it is.
We've just been staring at this so long.
Yeah. Good I took a break then, because otherwise I'd be totally blind.
What's that?
It's probably good I took a break then, because otherwise I'd just be totally blind. Especially like before the last pass. That was probably good timing. What?
Yeah, Glenn said, it's great to see pro artists discussion on temperature and all. Okay, Master Kevin, you can chime in. Yeah, Kevin, if you're watching, what's your professional opinion on the matter?
Kevin's probably eating. I don't think he's going to chime in.
No, he's probably thinking, I was just working all day. And now you want me to weigh in on a decision from through the camera lens? I don't know. We'll see what he says, if he's got an opinion.
You can bet like $5 that he's like watching and has an opinion. I'm going to bet 5 that he's sleeping.
Maybe he's just cringing at the observations that we've made so far. Who knows? Much to learn,
So true.
young whippersnappers.
Come on, bucko, get it together.
Watercolor Newbies is asking, what was May's inspiration for this image?
I knew we were going to get one. Okay. Very.
No, we love that question.
We love that
Watercolor,
question
but
so much.
It's funny because we've got that question every single live stream. So we're just commenting on that. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
go ahead.
problem. I just like wings and like angels and like that sort of imagery. And so I just wanted to do that because I could. And I've, like usually when I paint people, it's usually like from the front. So I thought like, you know, a different like anatomical part, also different angle would be more interesting. And then I only have one wing because I think it's like more narratively intriguing since it's not like a whole angel, but it's not just a human either. So it's like a kind of metamorphic stage. So it's just more interesting to the viewer, I hope. And also just asymmetry is just more visually interesting too. Basically, I just painted what I like. And yeah, I don't think, there's no need for me to like make it sound professional. It's just, this is what I thought looked cool. That was all.
Trevor shared, wing jokes aside, a character with only one wing is actually a really interesting character design that stands out. For example, like the character Jinx with blue hair from Arcane.
Yes! I love that show. Jinx is like such a great character design. Wow. I don't play the game because that's cringe, but yeah, it's a very good show. I love her design. There's like X's all over the design if you look closely, like in all her like accessories and stuff, which I thought was just like genius as well.
Mm.
And like the long pigtails are like supposedly representative of like her not growing out of like a mental state of childhood.
Mm.
Anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's like she can't let go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like also eerie because she has this very like non-childish like affinity for like psychotic episodes and like doing damage to other people. Like in the game, like I'm pretty sure like her design is like there's a thing where if she like does damage to like an opponent or something, like she actually like gains power. So she literally like gets off on doing damage. And which is like obviously like not a childlike thing. But yeah. It's very well designed.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that show. And the art style too. Oh my god, wow. There's like behind the scenes coming out of like the making of Arcane right now, like on YouTube. And like it's just like they haven't gotten to like the actual like painting stuff yet. They've like the actual like production of like the images that you see or the frames that you see or whatnot. But like I've seen like other kind of like behind the scenes like bits of it just like on other parts of YouTube. And it's so nice, like, because they incorporate like 2D and 3D, so all the models are 3D, but they like paint on top of them. So it's not just like, you know, like a naked 3D render the way like Pixar usually does. So it's so rich.
Yeah.
Like every frame, if you pause like at any part, like there is not a single ugly frame. Like everything looks like a painting.
Yeah.
It's really quite something. I think the first episode took 10 months to animate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Edie is asking, what block has May completed so far? So block as in the Evolve program. So
I'm not...
to
should I
translate...
answer, or you can answer.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
Well, just to translate, so May is like she's an apprentice of Kevin. So her path was very customized for her, but she would essentially be equivalent to past Block 8. She's done master copies. She's combined different techniques. This painting is actually a combination of several techniques. So she'd be past Block 8 at this point. And Block 8 is basically would be finishing the advanced program in the Evolve program. And I can't remember if I said this, but Sandra said it looks really blue from here next to the wing. It's coming along very nicely. So that's good.
Thank you.
And she also asked, is this a rules are made to be broken stage?
This is a May paints what she feels like stage. So if it also happens to be a breaking rules stage, then that's pretty great too.
And Sandra is also wondering if this is the same guy as in the painting in the back. For
No.
reference. No. Okay. Okay, Bill is now asking, what techniques is it a combo of?
Direct painting, some speed painting, maybe a little puddling coming up. We'll see. I mean, just like layering stuff in general is like a speed painting thing. And I did like the flats and everything beforehand, and then I was always like when I was painting, I was thinking about like how I could set it up best for the next pass. But at the same time, I wasn't like making all my edges like soft and then gradually making them tighter after doing the flats. Everything was generally like pretty tight and rendered. So that's like a direct painting thing. But I might do puddling for some final details to add some spicy texture.
Spicy texture.
Spicy texture.
Cool.
Yeah. It's a big bonanza over here.
And Sarah Price is asking, in Block 8, are we only allowed to do the paintings suggested by Evolve, or could we try other masters? So, to the best of my knowledge, because I'm not heavily involved in the advanced program, to the best of my knowledge, it alternates. So we provide the photographs of these master paintings that you would then do master copies of, and you combine the different techniques that we've taught you into that master copy. But then in between those paintings, so we kind of give, I think we give about 20 images that you get to choose 10 of those, and then the other 10 are images that you choose. So that could be a variety. Some of our students have designed their own thing, or maybe they'll do another master copy. I'm not sure exactly what the process of that looks like, but I have seen like our students make their own paintings. They're not just stuck to doing what we give them. But I'm not sure if they go through like an approval process from an instructor before they do that, or how that works. There's a lot more interaction when you get to that point with the instructors. So hopefully that answers your question there. So Sarah Price is asking, how did the live stream class go that you and Kevin were doing for prospective Evolve students? Yeah, it went really well. It was our first time doing it in that format, and it was great. We actually stayed on for 3 hours answering questions.
Yeah.
And May was great. She didn't know that she had signed up for such a long evening. But it was really awesome to see all that interest about Evolve, to be able to answer questions for them specifically about, like just all their questions about Evolve, and really just make sure that people have like a really clear idea of what they would be getting themselves into if they joined. Because, it's a pretty serious program. We take it seriously where, it's like if you're going to get pro level skills in 1 year, then that's a big deal. And so people want to make sure that they're, understand what's involved and everything like that. So it's just really cool, and yeah, overall great success. So we're not. I think we'll be doing more in the future, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh, cool. Edie was there. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I think you asked him. You asked us some questions too.
Okay, I'm just adding some highlights in the skin. Just like thin down on opaque, like a lot, so that'd be really easy to blend. And that's what I'm still doing now. Yeah, it's like thinned down a lot, but it's still like those three areas still like jump out like a lot now compared to before. And also it's a bit cooler as well, temperature-wise compared to what's underneath it. So like if you look at this, and then compared to like up there, this is like very like magenta orangey. This is like almost gray. So temperature and value, helping to make that distinction. Probably gonna use this a little bit on where the wings overlap as well. I'm gonna like rest my hand. That's okay.
Hey, Trina.
Hello. It's a new person.
All right. See you later, Edie. What is the size of this painting, May?
It is 3 feet across and 18 inches tall. So 18 by 36 inches. So about 1 meter by like 50 centimeters.
What brushes are you using?
These are Simply Simmons Filberts. This is a number 6. This was a 1/2 inch like angle brush, I guess.
One of the very few differences between the Art Academy and Evolve. In Evolve, we use specifically Evolve brushes that are higher quality, significantly than Simply Simmons. But here in the in-person school, we've been using Simply Simmons.
think I'm gonna finish up the figure soon, so I can start messing around with blue in the wings. A lot of these shadows were like really dark when I put them in, and they like match the background a little bit too much. Just neutralizing them.
Bill, I see you're asking about orange on her palette. There's a
There's an English red, and then this is
Yeah.
like
there's a Chev red,
Chev red.
Yeah. Which is like a kind of like a cadmium red. Sandra said, "Ooh, loving the highlights." You had lowercase O's and uppercase O's throughout, so it's kind of like going up and down.
Thank you for letting me know that. Actually, that like
Yeah,
that makes it
just
for
so you
me.
can understand how it's flowing, and
Yes.
you can hear the fascination in her voice.
Like that sound effect in iMovie. It's like, ooh.
About the color, Sarah Price is asking, was it the English red you mixed in with the purple in the beginning of the stream?
I do not remember. Probably. I don't know. This area down here is looking very like noisy. There's too much going on. I'm not quite sure why. I know I added like a little bit blue like up in here, and then I kind of added more shadow on the side. But I don't know why the light is so convoluted looking, so I might just go over it with like a really thin pass of this. Just even it out a little bit.
Joshua said, you have great potential, Mei Jung. Looking forward to your coming videos.
Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate your support and your faith in my future. That helped. One of the tough parts about doing work like this is like, I can't tell which exact parts of the painting are wet or dry as I'm like doing like little changes everywhere like this. Like I can't keep track of everything super precisely. And so like sometimes things happen unexpectedly because I'm like, oh, that didn't blend because it wasn't wet. And then I'm like, oh, that like did blend because it was wet. And I'm like having to mildly course correct all the time. But since all the colors are like relatively close together, like nothing's making like a huge change, but it's still, a little unsettling sometimes. I might add like a little bit more highlight stuff. I think I can get away with it. Okay, that's enough.
It's interesting how, as the painting progresses, you have to treat it with more respect as it gets closer and closer. We've talked about this before, but it's like that final point that you want to land on, where you want the painting to be. And so when you start, you're very far away from that point that you're aiming for. So you can make big changes, big strides. But now you're making very subtle, slight adjustments to rest on that single point that you're aiming for.
See if I can get away with more blue down here. That might be a little too far. It's okay.
We've got a quiet live stream here, so I'm running through some questions. Not sure which questions I've asked and which ones I haven't at this point.
That's okay.
Here we got a question from Hiven, maybe? Is that how you pronounce that? What do you do with your paintings? Do you sell them?
I'd be down to sell them. For
Yeah,
now,
so
they're
May-
kind of sitting in the corner.
You've got a website.
I do, yeah. I
you
mostly
recently made.
photograph them and then put them on my website and share my website with as many people as possible.
Yeah, I'll drop in the website there for you to check out.
But yeah, I would happily sell them.
Yeah, so May's an up-and-coming artist. She's spent a lot of time learning under Kevin, and really it's just been this year, and the last year too, where you've really been prolific about making your own paintings and starting to establish your own portfolio and presence and brand. So you're kind of, spreading your one wing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's cool to see. And actually, on that note, and again, you can steer me in a different direction if I've already asked this question. On that note of like taking your art and moving it in a direction that you want to go, and yeah, like whether it's making a career out of it or pursuing it as a very serious hobby, what advice would you give to someone who wants to make art but doesn't feel supported?
I mean, if it's really what you want and it's your life, right? So it's both your responsibility and your freedom to make the most out of your own life that you can, and commit to that overall as like an ideal, because there's like this saying, I'm gonna like butcher it because I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's like something about the fear of like, I forget like the beginning, but the point is that like regretting something is always like much worse than like doing it and like having it like not work out like the way you thought it would. But the point is to always, like get out there and like figure out and like see for yourself like how something can be if you really commit yourself to it. Kind of just like see your own potential, because you kind of owe that to yourself by living your own life. And yeah, if it's something you're really committed to, then don't let other people stop you from making your life your own to the best that you can. I'm like very lucky that, I'm pretty well supported by the people around me, but I know that that's like not a reality that's very accessible or really common to people who choose to go down the arts. So
I think one thing I would add to that discussion is for people who do already feel unsupported, I would encourage them to seek out support, because there are people who want to not just, pat you on the back and say, you can do it, you should do it, but will actually want to contribute to your journey. And, like other artists and teachers, and that'll ground you in wisdom about how to go about that journey. And that'll help you think more wisely about, that path that you're taking, especially if you're feeling like you're against the world, and you don't have to do it alone. I think sometimes it can be easy if you're sort of feeling like, oh, everyone is against me, and you kind of generalize, when in reality there could be a lot of people who want to support and want to really be there for you, and help guide you through that journey. So that's what I would add to that. Art does not have to be a lonely journey.
not at all.
And I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat what advice you would give to someone who doesn't feel supported.
Whoa.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's people in here who've been through that themselves. So it'd be cool to hear what you have to say. Sarah Price said, Evolve is so good about that, so supportive, but honest and helpful critique. That's great to hear. Question from Trevor. Does May embrace the amazing May Zheng name?
I have no choice, okay? It actually used to be my username for my art account. It used to be like amazing.art. I was like, haha, wow. That was it. Yeah, it's fine by me. I think it's so funny because like I realized it very early on in my little life, and whenever people I come across, like they're like, oh my god, your name is like amazing. Oh my god. And I'm like, yeah, they always think they're like so like they're, you know, it's like the next like big breakthrough. It's like the 8th wonder of the natural world or something. And I'm like, it's, yeah. I think it's funny. I'm fine with it. I do love seeing the amount of joy it brings to other people, though, like when they realize it's like a thing that they can do. It usually happens like I think the third or fourth time I like hang out with someone, and then we'll just be like chilling, and they'll be like, "Oh my god," and I'll be like, "What?" And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, "I know what this is," and yeah, it's a good bit.
I confess I've had moments like that with friends where I'll think I like it'll just hit me, you know, and I'm so like excited about that idea that came. It's like, oh wow, and they just give that eye roll in response, and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You probably heard this a million times, but it's so new and fresh to me, and it makes me happy. You know, it's like
Yeah, it's funny. And it's always like when I introduce myself, it's like. So the second question is always like, oh, did your parents name you that like because you were born in May? And it's like I'm so used to that at this point, and it's like yes, like I like don't even let them say the question anymore. I'm just like, and yes, I was named after that because I was born in May, and people were like, nice, you know.
wait, is that actually the reason?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't like the only reason. Like if I was born in January, I wouldn't have been named January. A lot of people are like, oh, haha, if you were born in January, you would have been named January. And I'm like. No, just like my mom was like, oh, May is like a nice month because it's like springtime and it's like almost summer and it's like just generally pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And I disappointed her. No kidding. Yeah, it was just like, I guess it's like kind of unique, like a bit convenient too. But if I was born like. And then my birthday is May 30th, and so it's very close to June. And so usually the next question people ask me is like, oh, would you have been named June? And the answer is also yes, because that's like also a kind of unique, like actual name. But if I wasn't born in May or June, I would have been named Lillian, I think, because it's like the romanization of my maternal grandmother's like Chinese name.
Oh wow.
And it translates to like lily. Like
Would
the
you
flower.
mind stepping over just a little bit to your left, right there?
Sorry.
You're good.
I'm out of practice.
It's tough. I've been recording myself painting,
Right.
and I often forget. So I feel your pain, May. Yeah, so we're getting some advice in here from people. So Trina said, do your art any way you can, and keep going. Joshua said, always strive to perfect your art. The praise will come later. Bill said, always have a hand reaching out to help others. Meanwhile, hands will reach and help you.
That's sweet.
And Glenn said, in my case, no one cares about my art journey.
Oh.
Well, except you, Glenn, right? And that's I
That's
guess,
what matters.
what matters, and while you're still, you know, here and I mean, watching these 3-hour live streams, right? I feel like anyone who watches these, you know, has to admit that they care about art significantly. It's a pretty simple metric. Questions from Heven. Is it hard to get into painting? Also, does May watercolor paint?
I don't do watercolor. I would love to learn. It's a very finicky, very, very precise medium, I think. Because you can't like just paint over something to correct it. It's like every mark you make has to be like literally perfect. So that kind of blows my mind. But I forgot what the other question was. Oh, is it easy to get into painting or hard? I mean, it depends on the resources you have around you. You know, if you have a lack of educational resources, like financial resources, like support, like that sort of thing, then like yes. But these days, like with the internet, there's like lots of content readily available. But then it's up to you to kind of sort through it because there's so many artists out there and so many like art education programs or programs that pretend to be art education. So it's like, it can be a task to like sort through everything and figure out what's best for you. and like where you should get started on your own journey. So yeah, it depends on a lot of factors, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's much easier to get into compared to other things. And you kind of might have to define get into, like that phrase, get into, right? Because if you decide, okay, I'm going to get really serious about this, then there's like a certain things that you could do to get into it. But if you're curious about simply exploring if it's something that you're passionate about, which are two different things, right? One is like saying, okay, I am going to seriously, devote time and energy, and I'm going to commit to creating art, blah, blah, blah. There's like a level of commitment involved, right? So that could be one way to define get into. Or it could simply be, well, I'm not really sure, and I want to just kind of get into this and see how I feel about it. And so the latter one, obviously, there's many ways where you can explore and get your feet wet with it. And kind of just, without the pressure of, I would say, like one thing that can really trip people up is like having super high expectations, even though they might be a complete beginner. We're kind of funny like that. And so if you're just wanting to play around, rather than ask yourself, do I have the special gift of being able to do this? No, instead just ask yourself, do I enjoy the process of painting? How did this make me feel, like just taking this time and doing the painting? Because typically it's the people who really enjoy the actual process of painting who stick to it. If it's just the feeling of a reward, it might be a little bit harder compared to some other people for you to stay committed to pursuing it. But then if you're ready to like get serious and get into painting in that sense, then you'd be looking at acquiring the skills, acquiring the materials, assessing how much time you'd be putting in. So you'd be kind of looking at your different resources in a way, and you'd want to start getting advice, reaching out about what your next step would be. And on that note, if you are curious, then just reach out to us. You can reach out to, I'll drop in our email, hello@evolveartist.com. And feel free to just send us an email. You can ask to speak with me, and if you want, we could even just have a conversation, and you can share with me where you're at, and I don't know if that'd be helpful to you, but just want to make myself available if you're curious about getting a sense of what it would kind of take to really get serious about your art. And if you've already been making it, I'm not sure, but we can have that conversation. Okay. Star's asking if we've ever experimented with gouache. I have not.
I have. It was not very enjoyable. That's all. It dries like very quickly, and so it's like hard to make gradients, at least in my experience. And you can't like actually mix puddles of paint like this because they will dry in like 30 seconds. So all the mixing just happens in like these tiny puddles that last like 30 seconds, like that you make with your brush, like on the palette. And it's like it's just very difficult to like cover areas in like ways that look decent with colors that are not like straight out of the tube. So, but I don't know. I just like messed around with it. I didn't have any instruction or insight, so I was probably doing a lot of things wrong. But I obviously preferred oil.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tony shared, he's talking about, I believe he's sharing his advice about what he would say to someone who doesn't feel supported. I've always had more, no, sorry, that's Sarah Price. Well, actually, let me share Sarah Price first. Sarah Price said, I've always had more naysayers than supporters, but have always done really well with the things I put my effort and heart into. I know that about me now, so the negative voices don't register anymore. That's awesome. And then Tony said, I'm not close to being where I need to be yet, but it takes strong determination to keep going with minimal support. I still believe it can be done when others don't. I think it must come from within. Joshua Sprinkle said, I had a conversation with Kevin a few weeks ago, and he said that there weren't any people in his life except for one of his brothers who didn't advise him to seek alternative employment. Yeah, that was Kevin's older brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only person.
I think he was also named Daniel.
Yeah, not me, but his name's Daniel. Yeah, pretty powerful, right? To see, not only Kevin's own individual journey, but how much he's influenced other artists to be able to do this kind of stuff. And there was only one person who affirmed him on his journey, and everyone else was discouraging him. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for sharing that, Joshua. Darkstar said, that's why you don't tell anyone. Just do it so no one talks you out of it. Interesting.
Yeah.
And Glenn said, Darkstar, that's what I do. I don't tell anyone, especially people in my family.
There's like this kind of trendy like catchphrase going around on the internet. It's mostly in like the fitness area, where like the whole culture is like like push yourself, like break your limits, like become a god, like that sort of stuff. But the saying is like let them think you're losing, which I think is like interesting. So kind of having like your own ability and success as like an ace up your own sleeve, and like not needing other people to affirm it. It's a pretty cool concept. I kind of like it. It's very, very freeing, I would say.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone.
Yeah. Like your success is your success. It doesn't matter if other people perceive it or not,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it more valuable. Yeah, and like if you're someone else's competition, like having the upper hand and like asymmetry of information is like always a good thing. Learned that in like game theory in like economics class, but it makes sense, even in this context.
This is an interesting question from Trina.
Mm-hmm.
Have you encountered jealousy during your art journey?
That's a long story.
Long story. Oh.
No, I actually like can't talk about it. Yeah, I can't talk about it.
So you've experienced it, but you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, it's a can of worms. What?
Oh, Bill. Bill said, I'm jealous right now. Oh, that's sweet.
See, that's like wholesome jealousy. That's like, it's like appreciation, but like not wanting to like, it's not like, oh, it's whatever. I probably should stop talking. But yeah, I appreciate that.
Trevor said, you don't go through life with the name Mei Zheng and not have people get a little jealous. Wait, is your last name Mei Zheng?
It's pronounced like Zheng, like
Zheng, okay.
like with it's kind of like a J, but like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Chinese it's phonetically spelled out
Like
as
a
ZH.
ZH. Like
Yeah.
the ZH is like a Zh. Or
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Cool.
I had like this phase in like middle school where I like absolutely detested my name and I wanted to change it like so bad. I don't know why. I think I was just like tired of it being like a colloquial word that was like on the calendar and like in like permissive asks, you know, like may I like do whatever. And I was like, it's not even a real name. It's just like something on the calendar. And I was like, I was so pressed about it. I don't.
Is this the jealousy you encounter?
No.
All right, we won't go there.
It's okay. I've made peace with my name. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
Zhang Zhuo said sorry. ...
It's okay, Mom. I love you.
Oh. Ben is asking what your favorite painter is.
I really like Sargent. His portraits are like amazing, but his watercolor landscapes are like actually so underrated. They're like
Could you step
insanely
to the
colorful.
side a little bit?
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're like insanely colorful and like they look so effortless. It's just like 2 brushstrokes and then like this entire building is just like there, you know. So yeah, I really like Sargent. He seems very versatile, very perceptive. His work gets like a little more impressionistic towards, you know, like the end of his career and stuff. Also, he was like constantly traveling like in nature and just like kind of perceiving the world. He was like very like active about like perceiving as many things as possible and then like translating them to like paintings as a way of like appreciating like existing, which I think is like a pretty cool philosophy. So, yeah. Even like that like mentality I'd like admire.
Hiven shared that her, whatever, sorry. Mine two are Greg Simkins and Richard J. Oliver. And then Victoria Karabran said, how do you choose your perspective for a painting?
I guess they mean like compositionally. So, I mean, it's kind of just, I think of like an image or like a subject that I would like to paint and then try to like sketch it out and then sketch it out in like 3 different ways from like 3 different like angles or maybe like 3 different variations of poses or something until I get something that's like interesting but not too noisy. It's like easily readable, but it's not like boring. So it's like very hard to like describe with words. But generally like I make like multiple sketches of like the same subjects that I want in a painting or the same elements that I want in a painting, but from different angles. So Kevin describes it as like mentally like taking a walk around the subject. So you can kind of explore your options and see what's like the most interesting. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm just saying. Yeah, so I guess it's just like part of the process. You see that blue, guys? Are you enjoying it? Because I am.
It's so nice and subtle. Oh, we missed it on camera, but May just did a little happy, I don't know, victory arm pump. I don't know what to call that.
I don't know what that was either, but you guys all missed it, so you'll never know. This is enjoyable. It's nice because like before this, earlier in the day, I was like painting this like spaceship in my next like in the illustration I'm working on, like the sci-fi thingy, and that was all like very like linear, tight like marks. Be like very very precise about like the values and stuff, and like the edges and like everything. But now I'm just like doing stuff like this, and it feels great. I'm like debating how much I want to separate the individual feathers because I like the depth that that gives. Like stuff like up here, but this like looks like it's going behind this. You know, it's like looks very stacked. But I also want to like unify like whole like layers of the wings so that like overall there's like a feeling of depth there. So I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do. I think this down here might be a little too strong because I want this to look like it's coming over. So luckily I do have this handy dandy insane color. So I could probably use that like
Which one?
in those areas. This like very bright blue.
Oh wow. Are we in for a surprise
Are
later?
we? I'm in for a surprise. I don't know.
Find out tonight.
Find out in 5 minutes.
Speaking of time, it is 8:40.
That's not bad.
Not too shabby.
Thank you for letting me know, as always.
Okay. Another question from Ven. Would you paint for Magic the Gathering?
I would love to paint for Magic the Gathering. I feel like that's like a very big like gateway, like commission or like professional job in the publishing industry for like fantasy illustrators or artists. That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
I don't play personally, but like I mean I follow artists who, you know, have been commissioned by them to do their stuff, and it's always like super interesting.
Linda just jumped in. Hi, Linda. Good to see you.
They're so shiny. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Wait, can you do that again for the camera?
No. That's funny that that's
I'll
like
try
not on
harder,
camera.
guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Switch cameras more quickly.
See, the trick is I distract you by talking about my painting a lot, and then I'll like do it out of nowhere.
That's right. Yeah, I'm like focusing in on the painting, and then you step back and
Boom.
boom.
You guys don't know what happened.
Right? We just hear yes.
Yeah.
Have you tried miniature painting?
No. I think I would get a lot of cramps in my eyes and hands, and so it doesn't really appeal to me.
I actually have.
Ooh.
I got into, if anyone is familiar with Warhammer 40K,
That's a game, right?
it's I didn't play that one specifically, but I played a game like it.
Oh.
There was, with a bunch of my friends they're like a couple years older than me, and I thought they were the coolest, and they were really cool. And they all got into Lord of the Rings strategy battle game.
Wow.
And it was kind of like Warhammer 40K,
but
but just Lord of the Rings. And so
That's cool.
basically it's like you have these models and miniatures, and they have their own stats and everything, and you set up these massive, like you have these massive battles. It's sort of like, imagine the game of Risk, except that rather than playing on a global scale, you're simply playing one of those battles. So it's like an actual like battle as opposed to like a war and global domination. It's more of like that specific thing, and people will build like, you know, these maps and landscapes with buildings, and people will paint all the buildings and stuff, and I would paint my miniatures. It was really cool, and then you kind of, you know, you show up with all your stuff and you show people the things that you painted. And I may have actually been doing, I think I was doing that around, I think it was a little bit before I went to this school and met Kevin. But it was very different, you know, you kind of just, yeah, very different, completely different actually, because you're painting a statue, right? And so I would just think more critically about, you know, okay, the belt goes here and the helmet could be this color and stuff like that. But yeah, it was really fun. It was a good time. And then actually what happened is after I'd like painstakingly painted all my miniatures and I was so proud of them, and then
Oh no.
all my friends switched over to Warhammer 40K.
Oh my god.
And I just like invested so much time and money, and I was like, what? I can't do this again. I can't switch over. So I just stopped. But it was cool.
Reminds me of like, I did like this overnight summer camp the summer before high school, and I fell in with this like friend group, and they were all like a year older than me. They'd all been at the camp for like multiple years, so I thought they were also like the coolest people like ever. And they were like really into like rap music, and had never listened to rap in my whole life, but like I found out that they listened to rap music, and then I literally spent like an afternoon like memorizing lyrics to like the first like 10 songs and like their like shared playlist. And I like memorized these songs like so I could like sing along to them when they were like played at like gatherings and stuff. I mean, they like didn't stop liking the songs the way it happened to you, but like the fact that I like tried so hard. Yeah, I was a silly little 14-year-old.
We've all been silly little 14-year-olds.
Yeah. If you think you weren't silly at age 14, I like don't believe you.
Yeah. Joshua Young said, I want to learn Magic the Gathering gameplay, so you being hired will make me happy.
Aw.
You got some real fans here,
Sounds
May.
like a good deal. And wow. I'm taking it in. Yeah, someone said they wanted to draw me, right? That like happened. That's crazy.
Victoria said, I was not good at this game, but I went to New York for a tournament in Magic the Gathering.
Oh, sick.
It was an awesome trip. Wow, cool.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Laurel just asked, do you have a painting rap, May?
No.
Are you sure?
Not that you know of. I don't. How is that even work? Like as I'm painting, I'm like rapping or something. Is that what you guys want to see? Is that the next live stream? Is just us coming up with a rap?
Hey,
Please don't say yes.
You never know what's going to be viral these days, right?
Oh my god. If that's the thing I go viral for. I mean, at least I went viral, so I don't think I would care.
How would we title that? It's like 19-year-old artist paints and freestyle raps live.
Live. In all caps. I don't...
Given prompts by people in the chat. Don't rap anything. And Darkstar said, I'm here for it. It is amazing the conversations that we have.
A painter turns to rapping.
Yeah.
Apprenticeship canceled. New career path? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
The perfect blend of classic with the modern day.
Don't make me do this, guys, please. Thank you. Those wings are popping, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it could be some R&P. Get it?
No.
Like, as opposed to R&B.
I'm choosing not to.
That was from Bill. Good one, Bill. Bill's always got there. He's always got us with the jokes.
What?
There's so much love right now. It's so cool. From Sarah Price, she said, I love how much more at ease May is with painting and dealing with us now compared to the first live stream.
Aw.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I was never dealing with you guys. I was like happy you guys were here, but just like dealing with like the experience of being perceived and needing to talk while I paint, you know? And like you guys all came out because you like wanted to support me and stuff, which is like really mind-boggling and like amazing. So yeah, I remember before the first live stream I was very like
It's okay, it's okay, it's gonna be fine.
yeah. I remember you and Kevin like reassuring me before I went on. Like a lot.
But we were fully confident, and you delivered. John said, you have grown
Yes.
Glenn said May is so much more relaxed. Oh wow, that's so cool.
I'm like very happy that this is like an experience I've been able to have. And
Mm.
like it's definitely like a new skill acquired too, you know, like talking and painting at the same time.
Rena said yes, we would say May, and she would get worried.
I remember that. I still kind of there was
Well,
like
I didn't help with that one.
yeah, you intentionally made it worse.
Yeah.
It's okay. I think there was like one person who just kept doing that, and then because like the first few times I like reacted a lot, and then they just like kept doing that, and I just like I would just look into the camera.
I'm sure they didn't mean it like that. But
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I definitely made it a thing, and I made it worse for you.
It's fine. It became funny at first. I was like,
Yeah. Robin, that's right. Yes, thank you, Sarah.
oh, you're so correct.
Yeah, we miss Robin. Robin, if you're watching this later,
Where's
we
Robin?
miss you.
What's he been up to? Not jump scaring me.
Sarah Price said, yeah, we can be extra sometimes, even though we come from love.
We have great discussions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very happy for them. So. Just like freestyling some smoke because I feel like it.
Did you say freestyling?
No.
Yes, you did.
I don't know what you're talking about. I am rendering smoke in a non-conformative way. Isn't it crazy that this looks so dark, but like when I put it here, it's like relatively light?
Sorry, which one?
This puddle here
Mm.
is like so dark.
That's the color of the lighter smoke?
Yeah, that I'm
Wow.
putting down like right now. That I'm not freestyling. I might have to lighten it a little bit. Get some more interesting shapes.
Interesting question from Victoria.
Oh no.
What's the most expensive tool that you would rather use a cheaper version for painting?
Probably like a paint, like a tube of paint. Like I don't really know the prices of all these materials. Like this is just like panel. You can buy it at like Home Depot, so it's like not a huge deal. Yeah, there's like this
You mean
one
like
color.
cerulean blue versus Chev blue or something like that?
Yeah, like cadmium orange is so expensive. It's like $600 a tube, and like the tube is like it's like this big. $600 for like this little tube. It is like a spectacular color. It's a spectacular paint, but it's like you could get something very close to it, and it's usually like not necessary. But yeah, I think also like as for me in general, like maybe painting substrates. Like I paint on panel like all the time, and I like it because it's like it's smooth and doesn't take that much paint because to cover, and it's like I don't know. I'm just like much more. I just enjoy it like a lot more, but like Kevin's always like telling me about how like amazing like canvas is, and he's like the feel, and I'm like I don't, it's not necessary. So I don't know if that like counts as kind of a stretch from the question, but yeah. I'd rather use like $15 piece of panel from like Home Depot than like a hand stretched like Belgium based like teak wood. I don't even know like type of canvas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stretching it's so much work, and then you have to buy like stretchers too, and then like a staple gun and like everything, and if you like mess like one part of it up, like the whole painting is like screwed or something, and it's like I don't understand. I know it's like about like the longevity of like the entire like physical piece of art, and also just like the idea of like ooh the prestige of like canvas as opposed to like panel or whatever, because panel's like newer. But like I don't care. So, like it doesn't like produce better paintings necessarily, really. So for me, it just doesn't have that appeal.
Mm.
Like I'm not saying like don't use canvas, but I'm just saying like I don't use canvas.
Mm-hmm. And Trina is clarifying linen is the
Oh, yeah.
the really, the fancy high-end,
Yeah, my bad.
more traditional, whereas canvas itself is actually like a kind of a cotton that is
Yeah.
not archival.
I just mean like cloth in general, like
Yeah.
compared to panel.
Yep.
So.
And Ven is asking Winsor Newton. No, so we use Old Holland paint. And actually that's actually another thing to clarify is, May's talking about like, cadmium orange, for instance. There's a difference between, choosing colors that are simply like really expensive versus like going with a different brand of paint. So like I would say that you really want to have high quality paint and it's manufactured by a great brand. But that being said, you can use substitutes that like a good manufacturer can provide. So you don't want to go so cheap with your paint to say that, oh, I can just, go to like a local craft store and get oil paint there. You'll run into more problems than benefits doing that. Unless you're just, dabbling around and having fun, then no harm. But if you're looking to do it, very seriously, then you do want to be very mindful about the quality of paint. But then as far as, the level of pigment and expensive, so like Sarah Price asked, can you mix colors to match it? So you probably, I'm not familiar with, that specific color, but you probably can't. But you could get really close to it. And because color is relative, then the absence of that, let's say cadmium orange, won't be missed by most people. Maybe by a few people who are color connoisseurs or painting connoisseurs might
Maybe like
see
me.
the need for
Okay.
that. What?
Maybe I'll miss it. No. But yeah,
But
I
the
think
majority of people wouldn't because color is just it's relative.
yeah, and like the thing about like the really expensive paints usually is because they use like this very rare like mineral or like metal.
Right.
And so like it has like a very specific like kind of pigmentation and like luster to it. So like that kind of like quality in itself like can't really be replicated because that's just like the physical nature of the material.
Right.
But like the color itself, like on a very like superficial level, like you can probably get like very close to it, and yeah, it won't make like a huge difference unless like someone's like looking for like that very specific quality. So.
Mm-hmm. And Joshua is asking, if you run out of materials, do you buy more for the program or just send a request? So for the Evolve program, we provide like so much. Like as far as paint goes, you get more than enough. We'll check in with our students and say like, hey, what's your levels of paint? And it is insanely rare. We have a lot of students, and it's insanely rare for a student to need more paint, especially color paint. Most, on average, I would say that, Phoebe here is saying you shouldn't run out unless you are wasting it. I still have most of my tubes, and I'm halfway through block 4. And so we provide more paint as you're progressing through the program. And usually, a lot of our students will be still on their first set of color paint, even though we send them another one in the advanced program. So you should be good. But of course, if there is a situation where you need a material and you can't acquire it on your own, then we have ways where we can. But yeah, you would essentially you would be paying for it yourself, but we provide enough so that it's good. There are a few things that we're a little bit leaner on, like the amount of canvases, for instance, but those are all really easy to just purchase more if need be. And then, of course, if there's any damages, then we will replace. Can anyone join Evolve? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You can check out, we have links in the description of this video, so if you just hit that down arrow button and look through the links, you'll see a whole variety of things. Then some free mini courses that Kevin's made, that I've made, that you can go through. You can see our website through those links and get a sense of what Evolve is all about and how we do everything. And of course, feel free to ask me questions here or in comments or anything. Sarah Price said, I find color mixing and trying to get it right uses up most of the paint. Yeah, that's a good point, right? Because you're trying different iterations and you need enough paint to be able to mix the right color. Whereas the actual painting process itself doesn't require that much paint to cover compared to what we're providing. But yeah, even then you still have enough to do all that.
Why is there water? Oh no, it's fine. I just noticed it. So
What's up?
there was like water on the floor.
Is there?
Yeah. Something.
Okay, I will go check that out and see.
I mean, it's not like bothering me. We can figure it out later.
Well, I'm going to see what it might be coming from.
Okay.
So that, yeah, I'm going to go investigate.
Okay.
Give me a moment, everyone. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves. And I'm going to turn off my mic and go see what's going on over here. Hey, your mic is on, so feel free to keep talking.
Okay. So right now I'm like using a unused brush and kind of going into like the thin down paint that I use to kind of like run over like all these edges of like these feathers, and I'm kind of just picking out like some of the edges between the feathers so they're like more distinct, but not all of them because I don't want it to look too noisy. It's actually like not a good brush to do it with. It's very soft. Yeah, okay. This one's stiffer, so it should be able to like carve out marks a bit better. So I just broke up like that big area where I guess I didn't just do it, but I recently covered it with like I think it was like a combination of these two colors to like kind of unify that whole layer of feathers. I just broke it up a little bit with this value, kind of like a shadow value, like between the feathers to kind of re-render like some of those cast shadows of one feather like on top of the other. So I do like that effect, but I'm trying to like balance both of them at once a little bit. Because I want like the whole layer to look unified, but I do want the feathers to kind of read individually to some extent. So just being very finicky. So I haven't tried this color, but I'm like scared. I'll just thin it down like a lot. That's nice. Okay.
All right, we are back. Crisis averted.
Yes.
This is why there's two of us, right? So that the show can go on while we're putting out water.
How's that blue? You like it?
Yeah, I do. It's subtle, you know, which is good.
It's nice because like the fact that it's subtle means that everything I've built up underneath it like works. It's like a very steady build up, and like this color actually like fits in with the rest of the values and colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, validation. I think I'll only use it in like this little area because like in the painting, I mean in the reference, like these feathers are a bit brighter than the others.
Okay, catching up on the chat here. Sarah Price said, some of my canvases and paintings were ruined in a flood recently. I was able to replace the canvases, but it was kind of sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thankfully, the skills that you developed are still there. Bill was asking about the smoke that you're doing.
Yeah.
Were you doing that like the vacant shadows?
Not really. I mean, I was just doing the lights, but I wasn't like intentionally filling in like lights. I was kind of just, because like, I mean, smoke, it's really hard to define like planes, like what's a shadow and what's a light, because you can't like move around it. It's just like kind of wisps. So I was kind of just very loosely going off of the reference and dropping in some lighter values wherever I felt like it. So I guess it's like loose, direct painting, if that makes any sense.
Hiven, do I teach the master classes? So Kevin teaches the master class, and I have a mini course, technically speaking. So the one that I do is the 3 things you need to reach Pro Art Skills roadmap. There's that one, and then Kevin teaches one on depth, and then also, generally speaking, how to become a pro level artist is the masterclass that he does. It's kind of like a webinar, but it's not live. It's like something that you would watch. So yeah, it's kind of like a masterclass. And then Haven was asking for a clarification on burgundy or maroon. I'm not sure what that was in reference to. I think I was cleaning at the time.
So I'm kind of glazing the background. So I think around the figure, I'm gonna keep it warm. So just a lot of red and purple like, and then some blue, not blue, black. Well, paint's gray. And then I'm gonna fade it up until like this kind of indigo towards the top, where it's like further from the figure.
Which indigo?
This.
So Haven was talking about the colors. I'm sorry, the feathers.
Oh,
Burgundy, asking about burgundy versus maroon on the feathers.
I don't know.
I don't know that you're. So May's not really thinking in those terms as much as, because color it's so relative, right? So a color could look maroon compared to one thing, but then it could look burgundy compared to something else, depending on what's surrounding it. My understanding is that maroon is a slightly more purple color than burgundy within the red family.
Okay, that's it for the red. I'm gonna use this.
And just to follow up on that, that idea about the colors. So Kevin will often do portraits during live streams and things, and people will almost always ask him, what colors does he use to mix flesh tones? And Kevin's answer is basically that he uses whatever colors are necessary for that specific painting. Because, there's a whole variety of different skin tones, a variety of different lighting scenarios, and then how other colors are playing off of other colors. So it's, there is really no one size fits all color. And so in the same way, if you can simply match the colors that you see, you don't necessarily need to define them by name. Of course, generalizing is fine. But like the colors that we're seeing here with the wing and with the figure, they are simply the colors that belong in this painting based on the lighting that it's in, based on the skin tones or the colors of the feathers playing with the light and then interacting with each other. So it's not easy to simply say that this is this specific color, and like it's hard to it's hard to name them when they're a lot more nuanced. And yes, we do varnish the paintings. Paintings like these will once it's done, it will get varnished at the end. No problem. Happy to help.
What I'm doing right now doesn't make like a huge difference, but like the background before was this very like neutral tone. It was like almost just greenish, brownish, really, really dark gray. But now I'm adding like this layer of like indigo-ish like blue on top, and so kind of like overlapping them like makes the overall background look darker, and it also like increases the chroma while keeping it dark, so it's just like overall like more intense. And also like it's a more stark contrast to like the really warm colors in the rest of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like between like here and like here, it's like very subtle, but it does make a difference, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So. It's a nice way to sneak in more blue overall.
Always looking for more ways to put that blue in.
Yeah.
Laurel said the wing is looking incredibly luminous, beautiful. And Haven said, I like the painting over the photo reference, mostly for the wing color.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more saturated overall as a piece than the reference.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I like my colors.
It is 9:15.
Nice. I have half an hour to figure out how to do my signature. I'm actually like really bad at putting in my signature, guys. I hate to break it to you. I just don't like have that much practice doing it. And like there's just like this innate like pressure of like perfecting like lines rather than like shapes. So we might be stuck there for a while. At least you guys will be entertained. So.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? I'm really liking this bit, but it feels a little lonely. I don't know. I feel like I should hit like a few small pieces of the rest of the wing with that color. Which brush should I use? This one?
And Haven asked, first live stream that I've caught from you. So do you draw with a pencil and then paint, or do you just freehand with only paint?
I'm definitely not freehanding. So like the process that like I and people in the art academy and like in Evolve generally follow is like we do like a transfer before we paint. So we do like a black and white print of like the reference photograph, and then we put carbon paper like underneath that, and then like the canvas or the panel, whatever you're working on, like underneath that, and we tape it all together nice and tight, and then you kind of like copy like the lines from the transfer image, like the print of your reference, like onto the board or the canvas or whatever.
Yeah, the places where you see shifts in value, particularly where the light and shadow meet is where those marks would go. So it kind of gives you a sense of the outer edges, the shapes of things, as well as the light and shadow. And you can get more complex than that if you wish. And then as far as the education though, so that's a great process to use because it allows you to focus more intensely on the actual painting side of things, having your proportions already set and already arranged. But as part of the education, it is really important that you learn how to freehand things, how to draw from life, and see things accurately and be able to represent them. What we're describing is kind of like tracing. Not tracing, I guess, is a little bit.
It's an oversimplification, I think.
Yeah, because you still have to think a bit critically as you're doing that transfer process, and think about how the painting is going to be mapped out from there. But yeah, but as far as that education goes, it is really incredibly important that you learn how to see critically and how to see proportions and shapes, because as you can see here, like there is no transfer under this painting or there is a transfer under this painting, but it's not visible anymore. And so for the last, 3-4 live streams of May painting this painting, those transfer lines have not been there. So she's continuing to improve the painting and looking at the photograph and seeing places where she can put a certain stroke down that's going to create like a certain shape or effect. And that's all because of her ability to draw from life, actually. They're very closely connected, that skill. Because basically what's happening is you're seeing proportions in relation to each other. You're seeing things in relation to each other. So that translates with shapes, that translates with values, like seeing one value in relation to another value, seeing one color in relation to another color. And so learning how to draw from life is incredibly important in developing that ability to see relationships critically. So in Evolve, we start people off with transfers in block 1, teaching grayscale painting, and then in block 2, we focus entirely on the proportional drawing from life, and then going forward, we alternate between using transfers and painting from photographs and having high quality control, and then jumping back into doing painting still lives or paintings from direct observation from life, so that you're seeing. Another thing is that you're actually translating 3 dimensions directly into 2 dimensions, whereas when you're working from a photograph, you are translating 2 dimensions into 2 dimensions again, because the photograph itself is 2-dimensional. But in a still life setting or a figure from life, you are the one who is converting 3 dimensions into 2 dimensions. And so that's a very important skill to develop as well. And that's part of why, May's making decisions about how do I make this painting more 3-dimensional than the photograph itself. And that contributes to making the painting more than just the photograph that she's using as a reference. What do I mean by drawing from life? Just gonna give me 1 second to delete this. Just got some spam here that we don't want. So drawing from life is, so a simple example would be you put up like a sphere on a table, shine a light over it, and you draw that sphere as you see it without taking a photograph of it. And so you're looking at it with your own eyes. And
no transfer.
You're drawing that, yeah. So that's where the idea of like still life comes from. Or painting from life, figure painting from life. Yeah, Glenn, we did have a good run, but they've returned, unfortunately.
Oh, like spam bots?
Yeah, we got a spam bot that just showed up.
Cute.
So, well, we'll just move forward. Trina said, I don't have a signature that I like yet.
Honestly, same.
Really?
I mean, I like it. I feel like it. Maybe I just don't like it because in my head it's always so difficult to do. But I do like the design. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't think about that for a second. Yeah, I think I spent like a day or two like designing it. Because I
Same.
had to like actually sign my first book cover, and I was like, well, this is kind of important. I should figure it out. So it's like there's like a whole page of doodles like somewhere in a notebook I have of just like potential signatures. And I like practice it a bunch of times, like on the palette paper before actually doing it.
Darstar said, this may be a silly question, but do you guys use sketchbooks? I haven't used one in ages, and I feel like I should once again.
I don't either. I mean, I don't find it like necessary, but like it's a cool habit to like have. Like
Yeah.
jotting down like ideas or like things you see, etc. So
Yeah. I have a journal that I usually will write in, but whenever I want to draw something out, I'll just jot it down in there. But I don't make a very consistent habit of drawing or sketching.
think about what color to use for the signature. I want to use blue. Not that bright.
Blue is the theme of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like anti this painting so far, you know.
And Hiven asks, is oil the most forgivable paint to work with? For example, if you made a mistake, can you go over the area? Yes. That is absolutely, I would say, the most forgivable.
It's forgiving.
Forgiving, yeah. Which is actually one of the reasons why I advocate for oil paint being one of the better paints to learn with.
Mm-hmm. I don't need this much paint. This is ridiculous. Okay.
What's that?
It's just like I have like this big blob of paint building up for like no reason for my signature.
BG has just joined us.
Hello.
Hey, BG.
Do we not have Mars Black? Not seeing Mars Black. Oh.
Need me to find you some?
There's Payne's Gray, which should be fine. But running very short. Thank you, though. It's so light. Oh my god.
Glenn said, May, you might want to practice on the palette. How do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
I mean, if I have space, I will. Yeah, I usually still practice on the palette. Do like 2 test runs, and then my hand shakes anyway. So has been a few months though. I keep like finishing paintings and then like not signing them. So I just forget. I just move on.
Question from Joshua Young. Do you teach how to paint from imagination? So the short answer is no, and the long answer is yes. So the answer would be yes. So let me explain. So we don't teach how to paint from imagination specifically. However, you first have to ask, how do you get to the place? How do you get to the skill of being able to paint from imagination? And so, the fastest way to learn how to paint from imagination is actually not by painting from imagination. It is by painting from life. And let me explain. So, when you are painting from imagination, you are still using a reference. That reference is in your brain. That image that you have in your brain there it's very hard to grasp. It's hard to grab a hold of and critically assess. Sometimes the image is even moving inside of your brain. Maybe you're seeing this thing in 3 dimensions, and as you are painting, you're sort of not, it's like the image itself could be changing on you as you are painting. So you still need a process to be able to grasp what you are seeing in your head and have a language with which to interpret it and translate it onto a canvas. And so to do that, you need to kind of learn the language of art, the fundamentals of art, and learn how to be able to translate that. And then the reason why I say drawing from life is because in drawing from life, it's much closer to that sort of fluid image. Like when you're drawing something from life, you yourself are moving forward, backward on the chair, or if you're standing. Maybe if you're drawing a figure, they're moving a bit as well. But you are doing the conversion, as I said earlier, you're looking at the subject and you're converting it from 3 dimensions into 2 dimensions onto the canvas, which is much more similar from doing that within your own imagination than, say, simply copying a photograph. Like if you're just working from reference and copying a photograph, you could almost turn your brain off and simply copy what you see without fully understanding it and making sense of it. Whereas when you're painting from life, you have no choice but to make sense of it and understand what you are seeing and be able to grasp at it. And the more that you do that, the better you'll get at being able to do that translation. Now, with that being said, then the question would be, why wouldn't you just paint from imagination in general and just keep doing that until you get it right? And the problem is because, again, the reference is always changing, and the reference is the point, it's the destination, it's the intention that you are aiming for. So if that point is changing while you are painting, it's really hard to know if you did a good job or not, if you actually landed on the point that you originally set out to land on. But if you are painting something from life where you have, say, like an apple on a table that's lit, someone else could look at that and confirm or deny whether you were able to fulfill your intention. And so as a stepping stone, learning how to paint from life and practicing that over and over and over again will teach you how the light works, how it interacts with 3-dimensional objects, and then you'll be able to start transferring that information and that knowledge that you're building into your own imagination. But if you don't have those things to sort of piece together and understand what's going on inside the image in your head, then you will likely sort of become overwhelmed by it, and it won't come out in the way that you originally intend. So, a very long explanation. I hope this is making sense. But ultimately, through Evolve, because we teach how to paint from life and teaching you that language, those fundamentals, that is actually the fastest path to being able to paint from imagination. And that all being said, I paint from imagination all the time. I'm working on this 3x4 commission right now, and it has a variety of, well, first off, the whole thing I've kind of composed in my own imagination. I drew up a quick sketch of it, a little mock-up. Then I went out and I did, for some things, I photographed some people, but other places I have figures that don't have any photographic reference. I've simply just put them in. And so there's kind of a variety of things going on in it. And then even as I'm painting, I'm making changes that are huge separations from the reference. And I'm just simply making things up using my own imagination as I'm going. And I've done quite a few paintings. I've been dabbling in in more impressionistic work from my imagination, and I have only learned, like everything that I know about art has come from the Art Academy and from Evolve. But I have never actually taken a specific course called How to Paint from Imagination. But I'm able to do it because I have the language and the fundamentals to be able to understand what's going on inside my brain, see that image, grab it, and then get it out onto the canvas. I hope that made sense. How did I do, May?
Made sense to me.
Okay.
But I think I will attempt the signature soon. I did it like 3 times on the palette, and I'm just gonna hope a lot. I think I'm gonna do it right here, in like the overlap.
Okay. Let me adjust the camera so we can kind of zoom in on it.
No!
Yes.
Not the zooming in on the
Yes,
part
the
I'm the least
zooming
confident
in.
about. Not the.
That's what we want to see.
Oh, man,
Mwahaha.
this is awful. The thing is, like, this area like isn't even totally dry right now, so it's like I can't just like wipe it away. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
So it's going to kind of go over the arm and the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I wanted to just do the smoke, and Kevin was like, but overlap makes it look like it's not contrived, and I was like, okay. With all the,
With all the what?
I was just doing a lot of hand motions because I do that when I mimic people. Just like, there's no good altitude. Okay.
That's all right. That's not on camera. May's doing like a half lunge right now. It looks very intense.
It looks athletic.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna tell myself. Okay. Here we go. I'm like looking back to like make sure I remember my signature. Okay.
Ooh.
That's not bad. That's like really not bad at all. It's a little bit lighter down here because it's mixing with the smoke. I don't want to mess with it too much because then it looks like I tried really hard. But
On the camera, it is really hard to see that M, but it could just be the angle that we're looking at this from.
I might use like a lighter version of it. Let's see. How's that? That's better, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely visible. I think we're catching a bit of a glare on it, though. So it's nothing that we can really do about it. But you can see the lines.
Okay.
Very nice, May.
I did it.
You did it. You
Usually
signed
the
it.
problem I have is like not having enough paint on the brush, and then it like runs out like halfway through the letter, and then I have to like go over it like a bunch of times. But that didn't happen because I like loaded this thing up. So.
Mm.
Wow. Z can be like pointier.
Then, so you're asking how are the free courses? Do they get emailed to you? Yes, they get emailed to you, and also it should just, like, once you kind of give your email, then it should just redirect you immediately to the video. But yeah, you can watch it at any time. The masterclass has like you can choose different times to watch it, but that's all set up automatically. So if you just, you could like register for like 15 minutes out or like another time period or something that would work for you. So yeah, there's no, unless it's like specifically, like we did a live webinar recently that you may have missed. and that was where we were, fully live and answering questions in real time. But yeah, usually you should be fine for any of those links in the description there. Yes, Edie said it looks like a Z on my cell screen. So yeah, that's her last name on the bottom. And then just above that is the M. It might not be showing up
Yeah, it's pretty subtle.
on the camera very well.
But I mean, I think that's the point. I don't want it to be like super
Yeah.
bright. So
Absolutely. That's the elegant touch.
yeah.
We are, we've got great cameras here, but even they are limited in being able to fully demonstrate the gravitas of this painting that you've been making, May. So how do you feel? You just signed this painting that you've been working on all this time,
I'm not done yet,
live in front of the whole world.
I'm pretty pleased. That's like the best my signature has ever gotten. Like the process of me like doing it. So
You basically nailed it on your first try.
I'm like very surprised. Yeah. I was like me being nervous, that was like not staged like at all. Like
I don't know if I've ever gotten my signature on my first try. I usually have to wipe it out at least once.
I think the secret's the lunge.
Oh, right. The
Just have
half
to-
lunge.
You have to get into like signature stance. So right now what I'm doing is like heresy. So I'm like like painting with the fan brush, like in the feathers. It's like very thin down here for like this like cool gray, and I'm just doing it to add like spicy texture.
Spicy texture?
Spicy texture.
Gotta love that spicy
See, because I mean they can't see it, but like the bristles are all like kind of clumped together in like very little pieces, and so that creates like really thin, fine like stripes. Do it, and so it kind of matches like the feathers overall.
Darkstar said, we're allowed to do that?
No, you didn't hear that from me. Okay. This is a breaking the rules moment, I think. And Kevin's texting you like, cut the cameras, cut the cameras.
Nah.
But
This is
yeah,
the
this
the
is like
joy of
very, very delicate. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think after I did my signature, I just got like this little confidence boost. So I'm just doing this right now. I've been thinking about like using a fan brush like this for a little bit, like for this painting. So.
Bev Bedford said, it's really beautiful, May.
Thank you.
Glenn said, thank you, Daniel and May. Bill said, this is absolutely beautiful. Trina said, yay. And Ben gave us some red hot chili peppers and said, spicy.
Yeah. I'm glad you think it's spicy.
Spicy wing. Spicy figure. Tony said, it's been great to watch this to completion. Very inspiring. Thanks, Daniel and May. You're very welcome.
Thank you for sticking around. Oh, that's so nice. Wow.
Darkstar said, it's amazing.
Can they see this? Like this little thing here?
You want me to zoom in?
Sure.
Show off a little bit. See what we can do here. All right.
Just like like right here. Because that looks like feather like fibers, and that's just like, I don't know, the gesture of the brush. Yeah. I think that's it.
Judy said, I'm jealous. LOL. Linda said, well done, May. Such an achievement. Thank you for bringing us along each week. Daniel and Kevin to sharing your wonderful apprentice. You're welcome, Trina. Laurel said, love it, May. Well done. Trina said, May, this is a wonderful painting.
Thank you very much.
And Sarah Price said wispy. It's lovely.
Yes.
Spicy and wispy.
Spicy. Those are such good words.
Is that the name of this painting?
Such good. They could be. I just name it like.
Spicy?
I just name it Wispy Spicy.
Wispy Spicy.
It sounds like a Buffalo Wild Wings like new sauce or something. Wispy Spicy.
Wispy Spicy. Get yours today.
Contact Amazing for inquiries.
The amazing spicy wispy sauce. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's funny.
Yeah, this is awesome, May.
I'm just being like obnoxious now, and I'm doing it with like this bright blue with this brush because I can. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go too far and then be very upset. So, wait, just kidding.
It's funny how, like once
Okay,
you say
okay.
I'm done, you suddenly start seeing things. Have you
Yeah,
noticed that?
yeah. See, I'm
It's
like
sort of-
restraining myself.
Yeah, 'cause it tricks your own brain. Yeah. Suddenly your brain says, oh, but what about this?
What
that?
about, everything.
It looks great. The blues you added really just harmonized the rest of the colors so well.
Yeah, because all the warmer colors look more connected now that there's something to contrast against them. Right?
Relationships.
Relationships make the world go round. It's crazy. I really like the fan brush stuff down in here too, for the smoke.
Question from Bev Bedford. Are you
Yes.
going to sell this, May?
I'm fine to sell it. Yeah, just contact me.
Yeah.
There's if you go on my website, it's just like my name, like mayzhang.com. There's like a little tab for like contact, and you can just kind of email me basically.
Cool.
Yeah, it's signed and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Prints too, or just the original?
Is there interest in prints? I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
If there's interest, then yeah. If not, then probably not.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And we got 15 minutes to spare.
Yeah. Wow. Are there any like
Yeah,
final
any questions?
or comments or?
Any questions at all?
It doesn't have to be
Kinda-
painting related, I guess. We're just hanging out now.
Yeah. Finish our conversation on Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
Question from Sarah Price. Did you decide about next week? So, and
Oh.
Dark Star's asking, so what's next? So we're thinking of, we haven't fully established what it'll be, but the general idea is something that will be a start to finish painting done in one single live stream instead of 7. And it'll also be something, so actually, why don't you show again the painting that you did so we can do a little ad for our next live.
Sure.
So, so May had done this paint. Step back just a
Sorry.
little bit. There you go. That should be where the focus is on it. So May did this in just a few hours. She painted it really just to switch up from her more professional work and just loosen up and enjoy painting, and without really having this full pressure of delivering like on a great painting. And of course, this painting that you're looking at here turned out beautifully. But there's something to be said about just painting something that you want to paint and enjoying it and having fun and enjoying the actual process. And so May and I were thinking, because there's a lot of pressure on doing a painting from start to finish, in front of a live audience. And so it's like, actually, that sounds great. And so we're kind of thinking something along those lines of just painting and having fun and doing one painting from start to finish, and really kind of doing something that May wants to paint, that she's going to enjoy painting, the entire process of it, without really having a huge pressure on how it's going to turn out. So we're thinking of calling it mental health painting, which is referencing a previous live stream about that, or art therapy painting or something like that. Just, coming back down to what art is all about and why
Right.
we do this and why it matters.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be a master copy of sorts.
Cool.
Probably like the same size, because a lot of the time I spend on like bigger paintings is literally just like covering like the surface. So with this, I like didn't have to worry about that at all, which felt like super, super nice. So yeah, I mean, to add on to that, it's like also like because every painting I like do like usually is like another like test of like what I'm like able to like produce and all that. So I'm like constantly like reaching for like the next level, and I'm like not really like seeing, and I'm like building off of like what I have, but I'm like not like acknowledging what I have as much as I'm acknowledging like the distance between where I am and like where I want to be. But like something like this just kind of reminded me of like, you know, like I'm still like competent and like I can still like paint things like well without like having that constant like voice like egging me on like in my head like you could do better, like this has to be like more challenging or like that sort of thing. So yeah, because sometimes it's nice to just like take a step back and like acknowledge how far you've come and like where you are instead of just always being like push, you know.
Absolutely.
So
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's gonna be just so much fun. So.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, we're not exactly sure what she'll be painting, but it's gonna be something that she loves, and it'll be a good time. And that'll be next week.
Yeah. Same time.
Yep, same time. Question from Judy: how long will you wait until you varnish it?
This one? Probably after it dries. I don't know. Maybe in like within a week, probably.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different opinions on varnishing paintings. The process that May is using to paint this the application is very thin, and so the painting is actually like bone dry within a week's time. So she'll just wait a week most likely and then give it a varnish and we'll be done, ready to go. How many hours did this take? So this took 21 hours for the one-winged painting. Just want to make sure that's clear. And does it have a name yet? Oh.
Not a serious one. I just keep thinking of like Baby Andrew.
Baby Andrew. Right.
That's because I have like another painting that I did in like February of like my good friend Andrew from college, and he's like stretching it backwards, and he has like this big like wing coming out, and it's also like one wing, but it's like a bigger piece. It's 2 by 4 feet, and this is like 3/4 of that size, and so in my head I call it like Baby Andrew because the composition's like similar, but no, I don't really have a name yet for it. I could go with something very basic, you know, like metamorphosis or like ascendance or like whatever, but I'll figure it out.
I love how you give your names like extra emphasis when you say them. Ascendance. Metamorphosis.
Yeah. But like metamorphosis just makes me think of like Kafka, and like ascendance is just like blatantly cliche. So
It's tough. What are you gonna do?
yeah, I should just call it like the hidden blue or something. Like
Ooh. The mystery.
the mystery. And if people are like, what does it mean? I'm like, it's just because the last pass I did, I just put a lot of blue in. That's it. I don't know yet. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
Sarah Price is already suggesting some.
Oh boy.
Revelation.
That sounds like religious, and I don't want to like posture. So.
Sarah Price
Good word,
also
though.
suggested witness. Bill Brisea said grounded.
It does look like the aftermath of something. You know, there's like smoke and dust clearing. Maybe just like the aftermath. After the
math
incident,
homework.
yeah.
Math homework over. After math.
No. Okay, well, I can't use that anymore, I guess.
Sorry.
Fallout, maybe. That sounds like nuke related. Fallout's a cool word, actually.
It's also a video game, I believe.
Yes, that means more hits on the web if you type in Fallout.
Yeah.
There's like that. There's like Attack on Titan song in the soundtrack called like Ashes on the Fire. which is like a cool phrase. But there's like, I don't know, maybe.
Ashes on the fire.
Ashes on the fire. I feel like I'm stealing from them if I just take that line.
Bill also suggested after the fall. Dark Star suggested becoming? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Zhang Zhuo said unseen.
Huh. I wonder where that's coming from.
That one might have some layers to it.
Yeah. I just name it unseen without knowing what it means and then just make everyone else figure it out when I tell them. That'd be really funny.
He said fallen angel. Glenn said aftermath.
I do like aftermath.
Bev said watching, waiting, because we have all been watching you paint this.
I should just call it like The Spectator.
Joshua Young said Star Wars.
What? Wrong genre.
Bill suggested broken. This is fun. This is all the name ideas.
I'll probably like look up like depressing words and then translate them to like Latin or something and then put them together.
Edie suggested imperfect beauty. And Pam said angel with one wing.
I just call it like work in progress.
That would be very classical way to go about it. Angel with one wing. That's like a very
Yeah.
you know, just very quick to
It's
the
like identity
descriptive.
property. Yeah.
Easily searchable. You know, that's always nice, especially with.
Oh, that is
Google.
true. Like I feel like Baby Andrew wouldn't get that many hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bev liked spectator. Glenn said after the battle. Computer user. Thank you for joining us, computer user. I feel like computer user is always hiding in the shadows and then just comes out of nowhere and just says something in the chat.
He lurking.
So great to have you. Said solitude.
Oh, interesting.
Dark Star suggested incoming or unbecoming. Joshua suggested
Unraveling?
Unraveling.
That's a cool word. But it's not like, unraveling has too much like motion like in the word. I feel like I want to save that for like another piece.
Joshua suggested one-winged warrior. Becoming.
Everyone's getting really into this, huh?
Oh, becoming on unbecoming.
That sounds like
Evolution?
evolution.
And then
Evolve.
I'm totally going to butcher this.
I just name
from
it
Bill.
Evolve. No.
One wing angel in Italian, which would be. Forgive me, everyone, as I say this.
Oh no.
Un angelo alere. I totally said that so wrong.
No comment. I don't even know how it's spelled, so like I can't comment.
Angelo alere.
Angelo?
Angelo?
Okay, I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna get like clowned.
Turning away. Ooh.
Afterthought.
One wing in Latin.
Afterthought is cool
Afterthought.
because it's like
It's not math, it's thought instead.
okay.
Sorry. Wing rising, unfurling. Ooh, unfurling. Karen P said, or ein Flügel
What does that mean?
in German. I totally just jumped into pronouncing that one. I have no idea if that's right either. Where did my wing go? Virginia.
Lost and found. Donde está?
Okay.
I do like afterthought a lot, actually.
Afterthought is
Because he
nice.
feels like he's left behind.
Hey, were you,
you know?
painting a second ago? I almost just missed it.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm just doing more indulgent fan brush stuff.
And then, okay, so
I want
cool.
to.
Thank you everyone for the ideas. I guess, are you going to sit with it or have you decided on afterthought?
I do like afterthought. Yeah. But I do like that everyone's so engaged, though. That's really
Yeah,
sweet.
it is really fun. I appreciate it. It's cool. It's like a melting pot right now of ideas.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like the classical one, which is like, what was it like Angel with one wing? Yeah. That's like nice. It has like a nice like cadence to it. So. Vote below.
I can make a poll right now.
You could. Do you want to?
Sure.
Okay.
Is it just those two? Afterthought
I think
versus...
so.
Okay.
Everyone votes against me.
How do you feel about, like, before I make this poll, are you going to regret the decision? You know, sometimes...
I
they say
mean,
that when you
I'm
flip
saying
a
like
coin-
make a poll. I'm not saying I'm gonna listen to you.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll make a poll and maybe May will take our advice or not.
Yeah.
All right. So what should the name of this painting be?
Just surveying the room.
So we've got angel
Yeah, with
with
one wing.
one wing. So sort of the classical
Yeah. But I
way
feel
of
like
describing paintings.
yeah, but afterthought's more like narrative.
Afterthought. Is that one word?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Here we go.
The poll is out. Let's hear it. And Darkstar added, if we're going in different languages, sin alas. Alas?
That sounds cool.
Sin alas.
All sins.
I don't know what that would... Oh, is that what it means?
I don't know. Sin allis. It's like just what I'm going on. I don't know.
Bill said too close to the sun.
Oh, like Icarus.
All right, we've got 8
Ooh.
votes already. What do you think? Which one do you think is leaning? Out of curiosity.
Based
Just
on like
really
what
making-
everyone else was saying, I feel like Angel with one wing is winning. Based on like the other answers that I was hearing.
Uh-huh.
But doesn't mean I'm gonna listen.
You're good at reading a room that you can't see. So it's right now it's at 60% Angel with one wing. We've had 15 votes at this
Oh, it's
point.
kind of close actually.
Yeah. Sanchez also suggested Out of Heaven.
Huh.
It's really cool, like just hearing the different names because it sort of shows the different interpretations that people are already having
Yeah.
by looking at the painting.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show like how a piece of art, my friend actually, Joshua in here who had joined us earlier, he's been telling me lately how art is like a good art is like an invitation for more creation.
Yeah.
And here
begets
everyone is
itself.
now like has been invited into creating because of this painting, which is just really cool. Bill said flying in circles.
No. Just downward.
That's actually really funny. if you
Just
think
downward
about it.
spiral.
Because you have one
Spiraling.
wing, so-
After
no,
the
we're getting
spiral.
spammed again.
Post spiral.
All right, we are getting spammed, so I feel like that's our cue to
Like
make
in
some
the poll?
moves here. So, wow, we're getting a lot of these. Just removing these as fast as I can. So we are currently at 56% Angel with one wing.
That's really close.
It's very close. Are you going to weigh in on whether you're going to take this advice or not, or are you going to sleep on this?
I'm probably not going to listen. But I will sleep on it. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, we will find out. But
Yeah.
thank you, everyone, for your opinions. Really cool. Really appreciate this. I'm going to end the poll now.
Ooh, what happened? Did it go 50-50?
It went 50-50 right before I hit the end button.
That's what I thought.
Oh,
That's what I
snap.
thought.
Who's gonna be the one person? Oh, 21. 52% now. Back to Angel with one wing.
Okay, good night.
All right, we're gonna end it there.
I'm kidding. Okay, yeah.
All right, 52% Angel with one wing. Wow, that was very
That's
exciting.
really tight.
That's very cool. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Well, this was so much fun. Thank you,
This was
everyone.
very fun.
I really enjoyed these, just being real with all of you. And May, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So, all right, and we will be back next week with a very fun painting that we'll do from start to finish. Awesome.
Yeah.
All righty, take care, everybody.
Good night. Much love.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, as always.
Yeah. All right.